The college football experience, week 8 DFS picks and underdog fantasy picks as well. Episode of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN, you get 50% off. Deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hop on over there, underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football experience week 8 DFS preview picks and underdog fantasy picks as well. If you're wondering, youtube.com/the college experience. This came out later. I do apologize for that, but was out Mountain West Media Days and WCC Media Days yesterday in Las Vegas for the college basketball season. Check out the college basketball experience for more on that. But yes, youtube.com/the college experience. We're getting the episode out as fast as we can this week, and I'm also in the middle of a move if you can't see, so it's chaos.
What happened to the shelves?
The shelves are we're fixing them. We're finally fixing those shelves. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swing It Database Dan, aka Pick D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes. Shout out to Max. There will be no bombs down under today, unfortunately, and there will be no FCS, unfortunately, just because I am fucking moving and I have a bunch of shit I have to do. But maybe next week they'll be back.
I always said don't get married during football season. I guess you shouldn't be moving during football season either.
That's very true. I should have done this in April. But, love is a battlefield, as Pat Benatar once said, NC Nick. Give it up for the DFS god himself, the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, man?
I mean, I know people are just waiting to react to the Tony Bennett news of him leaving and retiring. And I called it. Ron Sanchez, now the interim head coach there. I called it a year ago, but I guess it is an interesting topic because it's all over the place.
I want to know, to cut you off real quick, I mean, is UVA without their head coach, are they still going to be a bunch of clock suckers?
That's true. Suck that clock is what they were known to do. They chanted that out. Probably if Sanchez for the next year at least, but I think we should address this. Was it selfish of Tony Bennett to sign an extension back in June and to do this with his team, hit the portal, and then to do this, say, 14 days before the season starts?
Well, I mean, it's selfish, not just selfish, because he's also looking out for his coaching staff and the program. What he wasn't looking out for was players, because, he just signed a bunch of transfers and freshmen. And the question is, did he know he was going to do this? I suppose, that's hard to say. I think probably. I think he timed this on purpose. which would benefit the program and his other coaches the best. But it doesn't benefit any players who might now want to leave because there's really no time to do that. So in a way, I guess you could say it was kind of selfish. But I think overall, it's probably it's the best case for UVA basketball.
Yeah, and Sanchez being hired, that was the red flag from the start.
Yeah.
Was this guy was in his most pivotal year at Charlotte. They had taken steps. He was hired last October, right? Or last, September.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Where he resigned abruptly in a pivotal year for Charlotte with a team that was bringing back some decent players. So we were dumbfounded then. And I don't know if you've seen the clip that Noah put out of me projecting that I thought Tony Bennett would retire.
Yep.
Over that last season would be his last season, which I was correct on. But I just think, I mean, there's some scrutiny there. People are blaming the transfer portal era, and I feel like Boeheim had some comments about this, saying this is the sport doing this to him. This is the rulings state by state in this country. It's not like it was before where we had the best interest of kids. This is where I think it's a slippery slope, because I do think there was a lot of schools that weren't paying. I don't know if Virginia ever paid, but I can certainly say the elites of college basketball were always paying. So why is it okay then and not now?
Yeah, it's not like the best interest of kids, before they couldn't transfer, they had to sit out a year, or there was restrictions on where they could transfer to. How is that in the best interest of a kid? No, that is in the best interest of a coach. So coaching has gotten a lot harder than it used to be, for sure.
Yeah.
But now kids are, making more money and there's more flexibility. How's that a bad thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's a lame excuse to a certain extent, but anyway, this is a college football DFS show. What are we bringing? For more on that, check out the college basketball experience. I'm a Tony Bennett fan, but I do question the timing on that. But anyway, let's jump into this mess. We got games, obviously, and weekday has been treating us great, with the exception of I was in Vegas on Wednesday
night. Sucked, man,
and it scorched me. But obviously Tuesday, fire. I went 3-0 on ATS on Tuesday, 2-0 last night ATS, and we have 4 games about to kick in a couple hours here. Starting off with Florida State Duke, actually 5 games if you include the Ivy League game.
Jump back to Wednesday night real quick though. The fact that Sam Houston's quarterback and FIU's quarterbacks go down, I think both in the second quarter-ish.
Yeah.
I know Sam Houston's quarterback, Hunter Watson. And not only did that kill my 2 bets, that killed my DFS, that killed my prop bets. Wednesday night sucked mostly because of those 2 quarterback injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. And let alone that, a lot of money on Sam Houston State.
Yep.
And FIU, the airport. But shout out to Scotty Walden and UTEP getting that first win of the season. All right. So look, we got 4 games on the DFS slate tonight. The Ivy League, unfortunately, these bastards over at DraftKings have not covered the Ivy League games yet. But we got Florida State at Duke, Oregon, Purdue, Oklahoma State, BYU, and Fresno State, Nevada. How did you find this slate to be?
I love the fact that we got 4 games to choose from, and there's a wide range of totals. You got that Oregon Purdue game all the way up at 60. I'd say you have 2 like middle tier games between 49 and 52 with Oklahoma State, BYU, and Fresno, Nevada. And then Florida State Duke is all the way down at 42.5. Low scoring affair predicted there. But I just love the fact that you got 4 games and you got lots of options to choose from.
Yes. And let's start things off. Did you do 2 quarterbacks?
No.
Wow.
I only went 1. I didn't particularly care for a bunch of the quarterbacks in this matchup. So I went 1, and he is the most expensive. The only one I felt like for sure was probably a can't miss here. And that is your favorite quarterback in the nation. I hear you love his abrupt slide. I have Dylan Gabriel for 9.6K.
Yeah, when he does that abrupt slide, you can see his whole vagina clearly. I have him too. Had to roster them. They're 27.5-point favorites. It's on the road at West Lafayette. I think the game we both took Purdue, I believe, and I think that will keep him in the game longer. So
yeah, hopefully the Purdue's new quarterback who can actually do some things offensively will make it, and maybe keep it within arm's length at like 14 or 17 or 20 or so they can't completely take the air out of the football. So even though I like Purdue to cover, the defense is still shit, and Oregon should have their way with them.
Yeah. Shout out to Never Graduate. Will there be FCS picks on the picks page? Correct.
And to Never Graduate, did Western Kentucky make me a believer yet? Not really, because Hunter Watson, before he got hurt, I think was it tied, or was Sam Houston up? I mean, they're better than I thought, yes, but I think that game would have been very good, and I like Sam Houston's chances if their quarterback plays the whole game.
Yeah. So I went with 2 quarterbacks on this Friday night slate.
Who's your second guy?
Buddy, Oklahoma State's defense has been fucking horrible.
Yeah, very true.
So you want the best laugh? It's Jake Rhett's laugh. All right. What do they call it? BYU? Are they calling that? Rhett's laugh 74-100. Let's go. He's a baller. I like his game.
Yeah, I do think, I'm hoping Oklahoma State comes out of their bye playing a little bit better defense. And Retzlaff, for his price, it's a solid play, but it's not like he's crushed it from a fantasy perspective, even if the Cougs are undefeated. So I don't mind the play, but I am expecting Oklahoma State to play a little bit better defense, hopefully.
You're a hater on BYU. Noted hater on BYU, Sensi Nick. What do they do to you, buddy? How about running back wise? I only went with 2.
I got 3, and I spent up at the position. Obviously, only rostering 1 quarterback. I got a chunk of money, and this kind of goes. My top guy kind of is along the same line of what I was just saying. Not only is Oklahoma State going to play better defense, they're also going to finally run the ball better. And I don't think anybody's rostering Ollie Gordon at 8.5K, especially because DraftKings has that questionable tag next to him. I want to go Gordon here. If he's ever going to have a bounce back game, if they're ever going to salvage this season, then he has to start playing well. So obviously it's a risk, because so far his play up to this point has not warranted an 8.5K price tag, but I'm going to take a shot at him.
Bold. The Olive Garden is open. Do they have Olive Gardens in Provo? I don't know about that.
Probably.
Shout out to Charles Walker saying, "What's up, Dundee? Where's Mac? Mac's, killing college basketball episodes left and right, and the Big 12 experience. Check that out. As obviously, once the basketball season goes live, we'll be covering every single game that's played on the hardwood. Yeah, I mean, I actually went the opposite of the Olive Garden. I went with LJ Martin, the BYU Cougars running back.
There's our first player in common, because I think you have to roster him.
Let's go. I'm all over this BYU offense, even though I'm hoping Oklahoma State covers.
Well, there's certainly a scenario where Oklahoma State's defense doesn't improve, and they are who they are. And if that's the case, they have one of the worst rush defenses in the nation. And LJ Martin at 5.1K. He's been banged up a bit this year. He's missed a couple of games. He's back. You got to roll with him.
Yeah. Okay, so look, we know Malik Sherrod is not going to play for the Fresno State Bulldogs. So I loaded up for 4,700 on Elijah Gilliam, a senior at Merced, California. He just got 120 yards, 20 rushes, 120 yards, and a touchdown against Wazoo. He also had 4 catches in that game. Nevada is vastly improved, but I still would not say that they're an elite defense by any means. So at $4,700, I think I'm bargain shopping over there.
Okay, I like it. I didn't roster him. My last running back, I told you I split up for these guys. There's 2 of the top 10 worst run defenses in the nation playing tonight. One of them is Oklahoma State. The other is Purdue. So I'm going with Oregon Duck, Jordan James for 7.5K. Like I said, I spent up at running backs. These guys should have monster days.
Shout out to Jamie Hove in the chat. Yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't have that type of cash. Wideout wise, wait. So you've given all your running backs, right?
Yeah, so I got
Okay.
four receivers to close it out.
And I have $2,900 sitting in my bank account.
Ooh, I got
for
five.
a rainy day. 5?
That's more than your actual bank account.
Facts. So I'm staying in that BYU game. Chase Roberts, he's a dog. All right, $5,800. You know they're gonna. It's Retzlaff's number one. He's gonna target him. So Chase Roberts, the BYU standout wideout, is my top receiver off the board.
I like the play. You know, speaking of, we'll sprinkle in a couple prop bets here. He is over 51.5. I think -110. I like that play. You could even talk me into a Chase Roberts ladder, which is pretty appealing. But as far as DFS, I didn't have that much money, so I went with his sidekick, Darius Lassiter, for 5.1K. Both of them are kind of, 1A, 1B. I don't think there's like a total like alpha receiver on this team. I think these two receivers both share the rock fairly evenly. And I only got money for the cheaper guy.
All right. Well, okay. There you go. Did you roster the great Evan Stewart to again 5,500?
Yep. Play music.
One of the best receivers in the nation. I don't care that he wasn't putting up. I was not surprised at all last week. I was listening to all these people saying, and Evan Stewart came out of nowhere. Dude, we went to College Station as guest of the university 2 years ago. That dude jumped out.
Yeah.
It was just him and Jenkins, the running back for Ole Miss. Those two, we were just convinced were just on another level than all of college football. And we saw it against Ohio State as Evan Stewart scorched the Buckeyes secondary.
Judkins. Did you say Jenkins?
Did I say Jenkins? Judkins. Yeah. At 5,500, we load up on Evan Stewart.
I think you have to because of the chance that he does blow up. So he blew up last week. So far this year, he's had 2 very big games and 4 quiet games. My only concern is that did he blow up because Trayshawn Holden got ejected for spitting on a Buckeye player? I mean, there at least there was one less mouth to feed in the passing game. So a little bit of concern there, but here's another guy that you can get over 52.5 passing yards for -110. His ladder is also appealing. He's got the talent. It's just, he needs to be more consistent. And there's other people. There's Tez Johnson. There's, Trayshawn Holden's back, the Ferguson, the tight end. So there's also lots of mouths to feed, but I think for that price tag in DFS, you roll with them.
So give me your next wideout, because I got 2 left. You got 1 left?
I got 2 left. My next guy, the only person I rostered in the Nevada Fresno game, I want to go with a Bulldog receiver who I wasn't familiar with coming into the season, but he's been playing pretty good. 4.9K, Raylan Sharp.
Out of Allen, Texas. Look at what he's done the past. This guy's got 29 catches over the past 4 games. All right.
Yeah. Over the last 4 games, he's averaging 9.75 targets per game.
Yeah. I'm buying in as well. That was my third wideout.
His running mate, Jalen Moss, is more expensive, but it certainly seems like Raylan Sharp is emerging as the top receiver there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had the same analysis. All right. Well, let's I have 1 wideout left. And I'm going with my boy. All right.
Branham.
Last week he didn't do much. 1 for 16, but go back the week before. 7 for 56 on 11 targets. Let's go. All right. Out of Baltimore, Maryland, we had a lengthy conversation at Mountain West Media Day about the show The Wire. Cortez Braham out of at Nevada. So he needs a touch. He needs more scores though. For him being the top receiver from a reception standpoint on Nevada, he only has 2 touchdowns. This is a breakout game right here. So load up on him.
Well, speaking of breakout games, I think Florida State's Hakeem Williams, the 5-star from last year, might be in store for a breakout game himself. He's the only guy I got in the Florida State Duke game. He on the depth chart this week, he wasn't listed as a starter without that either or tag that teams put if they're planning on a platoon at the position. So I think Hakeem Williams only 3.3K. Again, a juicy ladder, anytime touchdown plus 380. You can, I think I think it's like 20.5 yards for minus 110. So I like Hakeem Williams to have a big game. The question is, do you trust Brock Glenn at quarterback? I don't know. He looked decent against Clemson. He looked
better than DJU.
Better than DJU. Duke's passing defense is ranked really high, but I'd argue that they haven't played very good passing teams yet. So I think that might be a little phony. So I'm gonna roll the dice with Hakeem Williams, hoping that he has a breakout game.
I like it. All right. Well, look, folks, before we get to Saturday's AM slate or the day slate, want to let you know that, first, the NBA season tips off on October 22nd, and the NBA Gambling Podcast with our very own Terrell Furman Jr. is hosting a win totals contest. Winner gets a $250 SGPN gift card. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest to enter today before the season starts. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest. And thanks, as always, for tuning in to this very podcast, the College Football Experience. If you could head over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, it takes 10 seconds out of your day, please. Only you can help prevent corporate gambling from taking over. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, CFL, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and much more. Boost Uber is upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boost and much more. With the NBA tipping off every NBA Pick'em entry from October 19th. to October 27th will be boosted. You can now use specials and boost auto flex entries as well. So what are you doing? Sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Of course, they have college football action. NC Nick. I don't know if you had a chance to scatter the board here, but I'm trying to pull up something from Saturday to give the good folks out there, because there's a ton of stuff for tonight's Friday. How about this? How about Ja'Cory Brooks, Louisville wideout? You might be hearing more about him. Higher or lower 80.5 receiving yards?
I think there's a good chance that Louisville-Miami game is going to be a shootout. So, it may not be my favorite play out there. I think you go higher there.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you have a favorite play out there?
Well, I'm just looking at Friday night. I haven't, I just mentioned Hakeem Williams, 28.5 receiving yards. I think we can go higher than that. There's not much juice to it, but Brock Glenn, it's only 0.69x, but higher than 0.5 passing touchdowns. He just threw 2 against Clemson. I'm hoping Duke wins. I'm hoping Duke shuts him out, but Florida State coming off the bye, maybe they can do some things offensively. What else do we have here?
I got one. Dylan Raiola in his second ever start. Did you watch his first second ever road start?
It was a little iffy at Purdue, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a 3-0 going into the fourth. 0-0 at the half. Raiola, I'm going to take the lower 225.5 passing yards. I think Kurt Cignetti, 2 weeks of prep, going to limit that passing attack for the Cornhuskers. And on the other side of that, Curtis Rourke and the breaks higher than 254.5 passing yards.
I think he'll be right around there. I think Nebraska's defense is pretty legit. That game might be a little bit lower scoring than we think. I'll throw one out there again. I'm gonna stick with Friday night right now because that's today. Evan Stewart, 54.5 higher.
Oh yeah, slam dunk right there. Slam dunk, folks. That is part of what's great about Underdog Fantasy is they offer so much great stuff. Once again, to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, use the promo code TCE SGPN over there at underdogfantasy.com. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, we are back and talking Saturday action. This slate was it this one or the Saturday night slate to me? No, I think it's the Saturday night slate where I was just laughing at the quarterbacks. It might have been this one though.
I wasn't very happy with quarterbacks in general on a lot of these slates. That's why I just went one Friday night, and for the main slate, I'm just going one quarterback also.
Ooh, I went with 2. My guy, the highest price one will be Jalen Milroe. I am not buying in on this Tennessee Volunteer nonsense. Now, at the same time, Alabama definitely looks questionable as well, but I'm just going to trust the best athlete on the field. Jalen Milroe is going to be the difference maker that brings Alabama the win. There's a reason why I'm on the Tide. And at 10,500, you're paying up, but I had that money because I went cheap elsewhere. And so I didn't come in with the plan. That was my last guy I rostered was Jalen Milroe because I had the money.
Yeah.
So who's your quarterback, buddy?
Well, like I said, I went heavy on running backs here. So my one quarterback, I'm going to go with my former Duke Blue Devil, Riley Leonard. Notre Dame has been kind of crushing it lately, and him running the ball. I mean, he's averaging last game he put up 30 fantasy points. Game before that 25, and then 38, 35. He has been crushing it mostly with his legs, but he can throw the rock a little bit too. 8.1K, Riley Leonard.
And they're going to have the ball the whole game because Haynes King is out for Georgia Tech.
The one thing you could argue is that maybe Tyler Santucci, who used to be on the staff coaching him at Duke, might be kind of familiar with his game, but I don't think it matters.
Interesting. So my second quarterback, how much was Riley Leonard?
8.1.
Oh, I was going to say maybe we have a battle of bourbon, but Sawyer Robertson there at Baylor in the Butt Bowl. Long rivalry there, historic rivalry. Baylor, Texas Tech. Still not buying into this Red Raider defense. So for $6,800, Baylor out for bye week. Give me Sawyer Robertson to have a nice game there in Lubbock, in West Texas.
I actually really like the play. I think you need to get pieces of that Baylor Texas Tech game. And I'll just throw this out there. Sawyer Robertson's got a pretty attractive ladder also. The top of the ladder, 300 yards passing plus 550.
Woo!
That sounds pretty good.
That's cashing.
That sounds pretty good. I didn't roster him though. Like I said, I focused it on the ground game in this. Should I jump into my running backs?
Oh yeah, jump in.
Well, I rostered them last week, and I don't think the Alabama defense is as stout as it once was, and I think they're going to give up yardage and touchdowns to Tennessee on the ground. And you know who that's going to be? Dylan Sampson. He's going to get like 25 touches like he does every game at home. Small little yapper there. If Tennessee is going to win this game, they're going to pound the rock with one of my favorite running backs in the nation, Dylan Sampson.
He is a baller. Now, what's his price tag there?
8.7K.
I just didn't have that type of cash with me loading up on Milroe. My top running back is a guy that used to play. See, I think this is what we're finding out. I've been lobbying that the FCS has just been. But I think that's the way to bring in talent. Whether it's, the Travis Hunter thing, I don't know if that helps the argument, but a lot of the other ones of, Shador Sanders or
we just saw Bashal Tootin run for the most yards in Virginia Tech history in a single game.
Comes over from North Carolina A&T. Cam Scattaboo just took a shit on Utah last week. The former Sacramento State Hornet. And look, Quali Conley is a guy at Arizona that used to play at Utah Tech, aka Dixie State. He could play at 6,700 against Colorado. Now, I will say Colorado's run defense has been improved, but
they have been.
I think Conley is the play, because it's kind of a running back by committee, but the backup is out. So I think they're going to give him more carries. He's also a little bit involved in the passing game. So Quali Conley at 6,700 is my play.
I like the play. Not on my roster, though. I got one more guy that's more expensive. And while I think the Baylor passing attack is going to do some things against Texas Tech, Texas Tech is going to focus on the run, and that is Taj Brooks for 8.4K. Maybe one of the most unheralded players across the country. Maybe just because he's out in Lubbock and nobody really pays attention to that.
They haven't had a prolific running back since fucking Byron Hanspard or Bam Morris. So he's really good, but I just don't think people focus on the running back there.
Well, this year he's 5 for 5. He's played 5 games. He's ran over 100 yards in 5 games and already has 7 touchdowns. He scored in every one of those games but one. So I think it's almost a lock that he goes over 100 and gets at least 1 touchdown.
There we go. Shout out to Dan Sen in the chat. He goes, cheers, boys. Happy hour has begun. Go get yourself a cocktail. Let's go. Shout out to Derek Johnson as well. Yeah, my second running back's our boy, Isaac Brown. I understand.
There you go. Play it.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Louisville Cardinal running back, 5,600, still underpriced. I know Miami's better at run defense than pass defense, but still I think Jeff Brown will get the ball moving.
Yeah, last couple of weeks he was 4,300, but he has back-to-back games over 100 yards. And Jeff Brom is no dummy. He finally got the amount of carries he deserved last week, rushing 20 rushing attempts, also caught a ball. But that's what, I mean, he obviously was the best running back they have. Before last week, he was getting like 10 carries. Finally, he's, going to be that bell cow. So I like Isaac Brown, even if he's $1,300 more than last year. Still cheap.
Yeah.
I got one more running back. I got running backs coming out of my freaking ears here. This is maybe the one guy who I don't love on this whole thing, but I think he's just like rock solid. So I'm going to go Auburn's running back, Jarquez Hunter, 5.1K at Missouri. Missouri's defense losing their DC, losing all those guys to the NFL. Well, they have like 5 or 6 defensive guys drafted last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think Jarquez Hunter's going to blow it up, but I think he has a pretty high floor. He's going to get me maybe 15, 20 fantasy points, and that'll do for 5.1K.
There we go. Jumping over to wideout. I mentioned him earlier. Ja'Cory Brooks at 7,300. Miami's secondary is not what we thought it was. Actually, we came into the season with question marks around it, but no one was able to exploit that the first couple games. But I thought Virginia Tech and Cal had some success there, and I expect Jeff Brown to attack that. So Ja'Cory Brooks was the play. I thought about doing Colin Lacey, but that's the one concern here with Ja'Cory Brooks is there's a lot. They have Bell, so they have different guys. Redmond, the former San Diego State tight end, but I think Ja'Cory Brooks will be the play at 7,300.
I guess my problem with him is that there's games where he has like 3 catches, 4 catches. Now, a lot of times he'll do a lot with those catches. He'll have like 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but doesn't get a huge amount of volume because of maybe some of the other options. I don't mind the play, but no, I did not go with him. I went a little bit cheaper at receiver, and my top guy, you're very familiar with him. Got to get pieces of this Buffalo passing attack. LeJontay Wester, 5.6K. Especially maybe with the injuries to Horn and he's only the best player in college
Travis
football.
Hunter.
Travis Hunter, Hunter and Horn. Maybe they don't play the whole game. Maybe they limit Hunter on offense so he can play defense or something. But even if they all play, Wester's still kicking ass. So sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. My second, but I am going to play with the Jimmy Horn. I think like he's a stud at 4,600. I think he's undervalued. He's healthy. He's going to be playing this game. So at 4,600 against Arizona, we know Arizona's got one really good corner, but I expect him to lock up with Travis Hunter.
Right.
So I think Horn and Wester should be able to eat at 4,600. I think that's the price where you just say, okay, I gotta take it.
That makes a ton of sense. I think every time Colorado's been on slate, I try to fit one of those guys in. I think I was on Horn week 1 where he had that monster game. So I like it. Speaking of Colorado receivers, there's been a big time argument in the office or at the studio between Colby and Patty C. Patty C representing his boy, Indiana receiver via James Madison, Elijah Surratt for 5.2K. Look, I'm not saying I don't think he's better than Travis Hunter, but he is still pretty damn good. And he's had a very nice season also. Back-to-back games, 7 for 128, 7 for 135. Whew. Only 5.1K, 5.2K. I'm sorry. What am I missing?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, he's steady Eddie. All right. He's not going to break one for 70 unless it's a busted coverage, but I mean, he's good. He's a good wideout.
Jamie HOV saying, I think he's saying Will Shepherd week. I considered him also.
Yeah. What was his price?
He was cheap too. I think he was in like the 4 range. I think he was the cheapest one, maybe. Let's take a look real quick. He was 3.9K. He was the cheapest. So that's a nice little salary saver option for sure.
Now here's one for you that I haven't made my mind up on yet. Alabama's defense sucks. Tennessee's offense sucks. But they're gonna be able to move the ball at home a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So the question is there some bargain prices here on the wideout front?
There is.
I mean, first Chris Brazzell, the kid out of Midland, Texas, who did have 3 for 49 last week. You know, or you could go the 5-star Brew McCoy, who's played at every fucking stop, Texas, USC, and now Tennessee. I mean, do you like one more than the other?
How much money are they? Because there's a couple options, probably even lesser money that I like.
Dude, Brew McCoy is 3,500. Right.
Well, for 3,300, TJ Moore for Clemson, especially if what's his name, Wesco. If Wesco's out, TJ Moore could have a nice game. He first start ever last week, 4 for 46. Or the guy I'm on a roster, he's even cheaper. If I can find him now, he has the most targets out of all the pass catchers on Baylor. He's only 3.1K. Hal Presley, coming off a game where he went 5 for 57. The game before that against BYU, 8 for 82. Sign me up for Hal Presley, but I think I like those two options better than the Tennessee guys because I don't know how many points is going to be in that Tennessee Bama game.
Bama's been giving up a lot of yards though, dude. But
and that's going to be the Dylan Sampson.
I do like the Presley play. All right, I'll stack him with Sawyer Robertson. But my final wideout, then I'm going to stay in that game because I want action in that game. All right. The last time they played an air raid team, he had 5 for 54. He's $4,900. And that's out of Stephenville, Texas. Coy Eakin for Texas Tech. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. Load up. I want action in this game.
Yeah, that totals 55.5. One of the higher ones, Colorado, Arizona, 57.5. I definitely like both of those games. I think the Clemson one isn't that high just because you don't know what they're gonna do. Well, what UVA? No, that's 57.5 too in the Clemson one. Miami Louisville 60.5. That might be the highest of the slate.
Folks, before we get to the Saturday night slate, I want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds to give predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. You can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you could build your own model like old Pick Dundee does here. So I like to select what, my favorite attributes essentially, and then have it build it around that. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. Also has a slew of stats, research, trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. That is BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. Yes, you can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. Sign up and deposit $100. You have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. I mean, who doesn't want that? Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. I like, with tonight's action. I think if you didn't listen to our pick show and just catching us late, I do like Oklahoma State in the points tonight. So jump on over there and grab that. Sprinkle that money line while you're at it. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus, promo code SGPN, so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. All right, we are back. Saturday night slate.
I finally went 2 quarterbacks in the slate.
I did too, and I went off the beaten path. I felt like because I normally, and look, I don't think I've ever rostered an Iowa State quarterback in DFS.
This might be the week to do it.
Yes. And I don't think I've ever rostered a guy named Rocco. Rocco Beck, the son of Anthony Beck at 6,300 is one of my 2 quarterbacks that I am rostering. Did you go with Rocco Beck?
I got a couple Cyclones on this team, but not at quarterback. So no, I did not.
All right, we'll give away your QB there, buddy.
I'll give you my most expensive one, and he was actually kind of the last person that filled out my roster. Usually it's not a great matchup, but I think he's going to get his. And I know you're on West Virginia this weekend to beat K-State at home. I'm going to go Garrett Green for 7.2K. Just what he can do with his feet also gives him a pretty high floor. So, yeah, let's go.
Battle of Bourbon between him and Rocco Becht.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go. My second quarterback is a guy I've said Texas never plays good QBs, good wideouts. Georgia's top 2 wideouts have been arrested, so that's not great. But Carson Beck at 7,800, I think he's going to exploit this little phony defense. At least it was last season. Bottom 15 pass defense. We'll see as they actually play their first decent quarterback of the season. Did you roster Carson Beck?
No, I didn't. He's solid. I mean, the Georgia passing attack is probably the best one that Texas has faced, but it's not like they're going to, air it out like crazy. And Texas at home, they got a pretty strong defense. So I think that's going to be a pretty low scoring affair.
Well. If you don't look, I think Texas will be able to bottle up the rushing attack of Georgia.
Yeah.
So I think you look back at that Alabama game. Do you remember what Carson Beck did? He threw for 439 yards.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen again.
That was at Alabama. He can do that at Texas against a questionable secondary.
I have a better play. It's actually the quarterback I liked most, and he's pretty darn cheap at only 6.7K. So he's a quarterback I rostered at first. I was like, oh man, matchup is right. Coming off a bye, finally given the reins a couple weeks ago. Kevin Jennings for SMU, 6.7K, playing Stanford. Come on now, get out of here. So if you want to, actually, I prefer that bet against Becht, and they're closer in price.
No, I'll stay with the other one.
You son of a bitch. Oh, that means you must like the Kevin Jennings play. So let's go.
I do like the Kevin Jennings play. I'm actually thinking about switching but then our Battle of Bourbon wouldn't go. No, I'm gonna stay. I'll stay with Rocco. UCF's quit. They've quit on their damn team. So. Jong, shout out to Jong. There will be no FCS show tonight, brother. I'm in the middle of moving, and I just came back from Vegas from Mountain West Media Days. So you're just gonna have to check the picks page, sportsgamblingpodcast.com for that.
Good question from Dan in the chat asking about a Brown ladder, Purdue's quarterback tonight. It's tempting, it is, but I want to see him do it one more time. Because yes, did he look good last week? He did. But Oregon's got a pretty good defense too. In your favor, if you do go with Brown, is that he could clean up in garbage time in the second half. So I thought about it. I don't think I'm going to end up doing it, but it's not a bad play. I like it.
All right. Running back wise,
I got three. I paid up for the top. I think it's the top one. No, not the top one. Second highest. Because I think RJ Harvey's the highest, but they got a backup quarterback coming in. They're on the road at Iowa State. Always has a strong defense. Probably not the matchup where you want to spend up on the highest running back. So I went the second highest running back, and that is Iowa's Caleb Johnson. The guy's a freaking monster, and I think he's going to have a monster game again against Sparty.
I almost rostered him.
Yeah.
Almost rostered him. So, but I did not. I have one for you though. You know who's the 11th? The 11th rush defense within the SEC?
Is that LSU?
No, it's Georgia.
Really?
Jaden Blue in Texas. I think Texas has the best offensive line in the country. $6,000. That's their blueprint to beating the dogs. Is running Jaden Blue. So I'm going to load up on that.
Do you have those rankings up there?
I do.
Where's LSU in that rankings?
They are there's 16 teams now, so 13th.
Okay, they're not very good either. I remember Colin Guggenheim running all over them.
Yes, for nickels.
Yeah, so I was remembering that. So I rostered Arkansas's Jaquindon Jackson for 6.
That's my next running back. Load up on the shitty rush defenses in the SEC. And Jamie Hove, yes, after my Fade America parlay hits tomorrow, I will be moving to Calabasas as well. Third running back. I'm curious if you're going this route. Is your guy in Palo Alto?
No, he's not.
Okay. That's mine. It is Brashard Smith.
I thought about him. I think it's
7,600.
I like it.
The senior out of Richmond Heights, Florida there.
Yeah.
He's had over 100 yards rushing in 3 of the past 5 games. And I think he's been getting more carries too. So
I like it.
Brashard Smith. Yeah.
No, my last guy is in Ames, Iowa, and I'm looking to fade this UCF defense. A handful of starters have already quit on the season and are going to be in the portal. And I don't know if Patty C is familiar with Carson Hansen yet, but he's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid who Patty might be a little smitten with. But dude, I know. Iowa State's got a handful of running backs who share touches, but this kid, first off, he's $3,000. That's it. So he's the very cheapest price in DraftKings. And last year at West Virginia, he had 20 carries for 96 yards and 3 touchdowns. So maybe he is going to get the rock more. That is Carson Hansen for Iowa State. I think it's DraftKings just fucked up here.
Yeah. I like it. Wideouts. I kind of stuck to the same blueprint with my running back situation. I followed those teams in a way, and that has me paying up for who was my most expensive wideouts. That would be the Georgia game. Look, all their receivers are arrested or suspended. Ra Thomas, Colby Young. So let me go with Old Faithful. Dominic Lovett leads the team in receptions. This is a guy that really over the past 5 weeks or 4 weeks, 5 for 50 a week ago against Mississippi State, 4 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown against Auburn. Against Bama, he had a big game there, 59 yards on 6 catches. Against Kentucky, 6 for 89. Kind of their possession guy. I think they're going to have to throw the hell out of the ball. I think that's the blueprint for the Dogs getting the dub. I was thinking, and this is another one I guess I'll ask you. Do you think this is a smarter play than Dylan Bell? Because I could get Dylan Bell, who obviously had the big game against Bama, over 100 yards and a touchdown. Maybe I think
Bell's more explosive. I think I would, if you're looking at a Georgia receiver, I think I'd go with him.
You know what sold me? He's from Texas. So I will go with Dylan Bell out of Houston, Texas to light it up. All right. Well, who's your next wideout?
Well, since I spent so little on that last running back at only $3,000, I kind of found myself flush with cash. So I decided, why not just roster the most expensive receiver, and that is LSU's Kyron Lacey. I do think there's going to be some fireworks in LSU Arkansas, so I got the Arkansas running back. I'm going to bring it back with the LSU passing game and go Kyron Lacey.
I'll stay in that game. I went with Mason Taylor, Old Faithful there at $4,000 in the Battle of the Boot in Fayetteville. So LSU will be able to move the ball. I like Mason Taylor. I think he's underpriced.
Well, if we're talking about tight ends, I rostered one also. I'm going to stack him with Kevin Jennings. Your boy, Russell Maryland's son, RJ Maryland, SMU, 3.8K. Touchdowns. Well, he had 2 touchdowns in the Florida State game. So let's get some more of that.
Yeah, and while you're sitting there, actually, wait, let me see. Now that I freed up some money. No, I can't. So I'm just going to stick with my guy. Jalen Noel, Iowa State's wide out. There we go. 5,200. Fade UCF. Everyone's quit that's really why Tony Bennett quit. I've been loading up DFS players for UCF. Say, what the fuck? The whole team quit? I'm done with this shit.
Live by the portal, die by the portal.
Yeah, that's my team. You got anyone left?
No, that's my team too. Let's go.
All right, folks. That's our show. Apologies on the lack of an FCS show this week. I am moving, and I just got back from Vegas. Yeah, blame it on the Mountain West. Blame it on the Mountain West and the WCC. All right, because I was there at Media Days. Check out. Got some good interviews coming. Yeah, check out the college basketball experience. The season is right around the corner, NC Nick.
That's right. Can't wait. What we got? Like 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh,
2 weeks.
Goodness.
And college hoops is here. Check out the college basketball experience. I will be live tomorrow morning on the pregame show. I can talk some FCS picks there. So I apologize. I love the FCS, but I did not get it done. There's just a lot of stuff, slideshows. I didn't have that time with going to Mountain West Media Days. So please, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We got the pregame show, myself, Terrell Furman. So any FCS questions, hit me up there and we will, obviously we got the Dakota Marker game. We picked that on the main show though. I think all of us took North Dakota State in a revenge game there at the Fargo Dome against South Dakota State. One of the best rivalries in college football. Check out all that stuff. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And check out all of our content, Stadium Heads, College Baseball Experience, FCS College Football Experience, all that good stuff. Let's enjoy the games tonight. And I'm sure we'll be talking tomorrow morning and tomorrow night with the reaction show. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience Week 8 DFS and Underdog Fantasy Pick Show. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot.